Okay, our second part of looking at functions, having done evaluating as the first part, the second part, our second skill, is composite functions. This isn't about substituting in numbers in the same way. It's very similar. There's just two steps to this. First thing we need to understand is this notation. F of G of 4 is how we say it. F of G of 4. So, what you have to get your head around here is that you're working from the brackets outwards. So you're going to put 4 into G to get an answer. And then the answer you get from that, you're going to put into F. This is why it's called a composite, because there's multiple steps to this. One leads into the other. So what you need to be able to do here is you need to put 4 into G. That's here. So 4 squared minus 3. That's 16 minus 3. That's 13. So we've just said that G of 4 is 13. That's the 13 that then gets put into F. So now we do F of 13. F of 13 means we substitute the 13 in place of the X. So 4 lots of 13 minus 1. So 52 minus 1. So 51 is our final answer. Remember, we put the 4 into the G, that gave us the 13. We put the 13 into the F, and that gave us our final answer. 2 stages to doing this. Second example, G of F of 2. Think about what we do. The first thing we do is put the 2 into the F. And the answer we get for that, we put into the G. So it's not left to right, but it's working from the 2 outwards. So 2 goes into F, the answer to that goes into G. So first step is F of 2. F of 2, we substitute in the 2, 4 lots of 2 minus 1. So 8 minus 1 is 7. That would get you a mark in an exam because you've done the first part in the correct order. Now we take the 7 and we put it into the G. So we're now going to do G of 7. G is x squared minus 3. So that becomes 7 squared minus 3. That's 49 minus 3. That's 46. And that is our answer. Remember, we put the 2 into the F first to get an answer. We put that answer into G to get our final answer. 2 steps, composite functions. We're doing them numerically here. Our next skill coming up soon will be to do it purely algebraically. Whilst we're in the world of numbers though, let's look at H of F of G of negative 5. 3 layers to this composite function. Starting here. The first thing we will do is G of negative 5. That will give us an answer, which we will put into the function F, which will give us an answer, which we will put into the function H, which will then give us our final answer. 3 steps along the way. Step 1, starting from the negative 5, working outwards, we do G of negative 5. That means we substitute negative 5 into G. Be very careful, folks. It's a negative number. Of course, we keep it in brackets. Negative 5 squared minus 3. If this was on paper 2 or 3, you type it into your calculator with the brackets using the negative button, or it would go wrong. Negative 5 squared is 25. Positive 25. Take away 3 is 22. This is the first bit. We now take the 22 and put it into the second part, which is F. F of 22. Look at the functions, it's 4x minus 1. So 4 22's minus 1. So 88 minus 1. So 87. That's the second of the 3 functions used. Now we take this result and put it into h, our final of 3 steps, h of 87. We look at the function h, which is x over 2. We substitute in the 87 in place of the x. That becomes 87 over 2. Half of 87 is 43.5. That would be our final answer to the composite functions. The absolute key thing to remember here, above all else, is that you always work from the number. From the 4, put it into the G, put the answer into the F. On the second example, 2 goes into the F, the answer goes into the G. On this third one, -5 goes into the G, the answer goes into the F, the answer to that goes into the H. It's the order you do it in that's the most important. The rest of it is just basic substitution skills and being very, very careful with negative numbers as you go along.